Got to take care of all the university stuff. Exams coming up. Let's
I hate
go.
it. On top of content. It's the freaking worst.
I'm taking summer classes because I'm just trying to bust through this degree. And
Yeah, you're trying to finish it.
Yeah. And like, just it's great when all of my coworkers are, you know, sitting there outside of uni going, "Oh man, you know, do you want to hang out later?" And I just have to sit there and go, "I have midterms."
They're like, "Excuse me?
What do you mean you have
It's July." Yes.
July? Yes, that's when I have midterms. Okay, when are your finals? August.
Are you still in University Reaper or no? Like
I am.
On a
In my last
full-time
year.
basis?
In my last year. Yeah, I'm doing 4 exams and my bachelor thesis at the moment,
Oh my word.
which is pretty fun.
I don't know how you're doing that.
I don't know either, dude.
Good lord.
Things are going to get tough. I'll probably just have to stream one less day,
Yeah.
leading like the next few weeks.
That's not too bad. But God, 4 plus that. Good grief. I couldn't do that. I did 1 semester of summer, and I only did 3 classes. And that was, I guess, that was sustainable, but I don't think I've had a full semester of like 4 classes for several semesters, and I've just spaced it out. So technically my time in college has been longer than it technically should be. But hopefully, May of next year is when I'm done. So, same thing for you, right, Chowder? At this point,
I think so.
May? Yeah,
Well,
that's what I
so
thought.
I took a break this semester, so I only took 4 classes. But
Only took 4. Only took 12 credit hours.
well, I usually
Cut
take
yourself
6.
some
I
slack.
usually take 16 to 18 a semester. And then just die.
Jesus.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
I'll pass.
Like, I turned off my alarm. I think it was on Sunday, right? And I slept for 12 and a half hours.
Jeez.
And I woke up, and the only thing I can think was, God damn it, this throws a wrench in my timeline to do my fucking essay. And I think I'm just slowly giving up.
I can't wait for all of us to be done so we know what the freedom of not having school is like. I swear, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm never going back. I'm not like gonna finish. I'm not gonna go for a different bachelor or a different major. I'm not gonna go for like a grad degree.
But you don't want your PhD in filmology? I don't know. That's probably a thing,
Here's
right?
the funny part. My dad has 2 masters in his doctorate. My mother has her masters. They're both really good. They're very qualified people. And then I fucking showed up and didn't want to finish a master's program. No, I don't want to do that at all. I'm not a good student. But anyway. Hello, everybody. That is actually not the worst tangent in the world, because if we're stuck in class and we can't make content, then that means you have less content, which is still Siege related, which means that wasn't the worst tangent in the world. So we're doing a good job.
Not bad.
Today we've got somebody who the YouTube comments have been clamoring to try to get on for the past couple of months. So we would officially love to welcome G2 Sua to the podcast. Sua,
Thank you for coming.
Very much for being here. It means
Thank
a
you
lot.
Thanks for the invitation.
Our favorite German analyst has finally taken this busy time away from Shass's all-seeing gaze to come talk to us for a little bit.
Nice intro. And that's gotta be something from the
That wasn't
man
an
who
intro.
reinvents intros.
Something like that.
Legally, this podcast does not have intros.
I went back and listened to a little bit of the first episode of this podcast, which is kind of hard to do considering the production quality of the said podcast has increased tenfold since the first episode. But I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, I don't have an intro for this. Chowder's like, you didn't have an intro for this? And I'm like, I guess we just have to roll with it. And then there's about 2 seconds of dead awkward silence, and I'm like, well, we've never been good at intros. Like, none of us here have ever been good at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, coming up with an intro is, it's hard. It used to be you could just pay some 17-year-old $30 and he'd come up with some crazy 3D motion graphics thing with a lot of
Oh my god, those
dubstep.
are so weird.
And you could just put that at the front of your video and you wouldn't have to worry about it.
with some weird like dubstep remix of something in the background, like Starry something. It had
It's
like
always the
some weird
same too, by the
letterbox.
way.
Yeah.
I
Right?
swear, I went looking for those and thought that there was like a generator for them or something online. I didn't realize you had to pay someone to get it.
No,
but everybody had one.
My friend used to make those for people.
Really?
Genuinely, he used to make those
The
for people.
big bouncing 3D text ones? Dang.
It took him like 20 minutes, and he was just like,
Yeah.
I just lie to my clients and charge them $50. And they
I'm sure he made a killing off those in what, 2014?
it would have been 2013, I think, back when,
Yeah.
COD sniping montages were really, that was all that was on YouTube.
That was
it was
the shit. That was still almost like FaZe Clan's infancy, almost.
Yeah.
As nothing but a sniper clan in COD.
This would have been, I don't know. I
I
literally took a
swear
3D
there was just
modeling
some
class.
online generator for those. Remember, like they just because everyone had one.
Yeah.
And there's no way I thought these kids with 70 YouTube subs or less all had the ability to pay for them. It just didn't seem real.
No, you can.
I know that.
You know
like,
Yeah.
When I was 14 and like made YouTube videos about Call of Duty, which of course I did. I made that intro myself, like the good old dubstep intro and like the spinning logo.
Yes. Yeah.
I did that.
God, so resourceful. You know what? But what you need to do at some point is just because you don't have intros up, as pure irony, go back and find that old intro that you have for Call of Duty and
probably
put that
can.
up.
and just only do it for one episode and don't talk about it. Like, what are you talking about?
Never bring it up. Don't say anything publicly.
This is just the normal intro to, my analysis. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about.
It just immediately launches the rest of the content. It's perfect. Oh boy. All right, so we might as well get it out of the way first, just because I know that there are plenty of people clamoring for it. How did that become such a popular thing? Why no intro for any of the content that you've ever done? Is there an explanation behind this, or is it literally just as vague as I didn't want to think about it?
I mean, it did start as a joke, right? I felt like I thought it was kind of funny, but it does. I think it does capture what my channel is about. I think like the idea of my channel being very like straight to the content and like no like random talking, like that. It was intended. I think that's one of the things I like about my channel a lot, and it's because it's kind of always what I want to see, right? Like, I gotta be perfectly honest. I don't care about your story. I just want to see what I click to her.
I mean, no, that's fair.
And then, just like first time was a joke, and then the second time I just like, why not just continue doing it? and then it just became like an inside joke. So I also appreciate the irony of it. So
Yeah.
I can get behind that too. Every time I've opened up a video, I've always wanted to stray away from doing the "What's up, guys? CaliberJacob here, and today we're talking about SSG on Clubhouse," like any of that stuff. I've always hated when someone opens up a video that way. So I can vouch for it because I always was like, you know what? We're going to talk about this thing and then launch to the rest of the explanation about said topic. So if that's the main reason you do it, I completely respect it.
I don't even really mind that style though, but it's just not my style, right? Like, can you imagine me doing that? Like,
No.
I know I
no.
can't.
Do you want to try one out? Just try it real quick and see.
Not
That was
doing that.
very fast to
You
say
don't
no.
know if it's your thing unless you give it a shot. Come on.
Hard pass.
Just, hey, do you want to give this a shot? 9. No.
9.
9.
Ugh.
I swear, like I said prior to this episode going up, if you don't find a way to monetize this, I think you're kind of kidding yourself. Like I've been trying to find a way to cash in on the BDS takes it meme for the past little bit, and I still have not found out like the proper way to do it. Mostly because I don't want BDS to sue me in the midst of trying to find something that I can sell. But
I mean, that's valid.
no, that's the only reason I haven't done it yet. Because everyone, like, if you want something with BDS on it, it has to have like the logo, right? Or it's some reference to a color scheme or something. And there's a part of me that just like wants to pay Deadbird to just come up with a design and then never have to worry about it again because he would find a way to do it without trademark problems, probably. So, only problem is he's like $80 for a t-shirt design, and it's pricey.
Well, he's worth it. But I mean, the other question is, right? Can
Takes a
people
long
in
swing.
France sue other people? I thought they just, walked over and slapped you, and that was the entirety of their legal system. Right? Just like, je déteste vous, and then you're done, right? Is that not it?
It could be. Last time I was in France, my brother left his passport on the plane, so we were detained by police security in fucking Toulouse, waiting for them to find the passport. And it's just my entire family and me and one cop behind a desk who speaks almost no English. And my dad worked for Apple at the time, and he tries to make conversation with my dad because he seems like a nice dude. He just goes, "Where do you work?" Like I think he Google Translate on his computer, like where do you work? And then my dad tries to say Apple, and we realized Apple is not a universal word for the business everywhere because the guy has no idea what we're saying. And then he pulls out his iPhone, takes the cover off, shows him the logo, and he just goes, "Oh, iPhone!" And then we're like, now we're getting somewhere.
See, I was worried he would have literally just said "pom," and that would have been "pom," P-O-M-M-E. It's Apple and.
Okay. Nah, it just didn't say anything back. But that's the only memory that I have of France and France's legal system. And they do keep clean police offices. What the fuck is this podcast?
Anyway, you guys want to talk about European League?
We can talk about European League, and then hopefully maybe we can transition into some North American stuff, because the past couple episodes we've talked about a lot of European stuff recently. I just realized, because we had Leon on last, then we had a double caster duo on, and then we had someone else, and then we had a double caster duo, like all from Europe. I think it's been a while since we've had North American on, so we can touch on that at some point later. European League though so far has been pretty interesting. I think BDS finally losing wasn't even all that bad, because now we're starting to really figure out like who our top four can be. We're halfway through this stage, by the way, which I am having a hard time believing, because it's only been 5 games, but there are only 9 games in Europe total, because it's all run on best of 1 every week.
Yeah.
So by this time in 2 weeks, we'll be completely done with stage 1.
Yep.
That's kind of crazy.
It kind of is.
It's also very nice for coaches, analysts, and teams to play consecutive 7 super weeks back to back to back.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to prepare. I'll tell you that much.
There's a part of me that does kind of miss the season 9 of the season 10 format, where there was only 1 game of each region per week. But at the same time, I also do like the super week concept of you have to play 2 of them back to back. But I do wonder kind of what that does to team prep. Rogue went in and played BDS and had to, beat them, and then you only have another day to go through and more fully prepare for your Wednesday game. And everyone makes the reference about the Wednesday game sometimes being a harder game to win, because you spent 5 days focusing on your Monday opponent, and now you have to switch gears and go fight these other guys immediately afterwards. So in Rogue's case, right now, they got to go play Secret, which probably isn't the biggest deal in the world, considering Secret's in dead last. But
I mean, that's a Rogue choke, right?
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
Oh no! Watch them lose the Secret out the gate. No,
I mean, didn't Rogue lose to Secret in GSA?
That's a good point, actually.
I don't know, but it also probably doesn't matter. I feel like the G2 Secret and Rogue, they're not playing seriously, right, in GSA?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I haven't watched the GSA games after the first week. But what I heard was there were some pretty troll games involving the Pro League teams.
Yeah, probably. It's very much which competition do you focus on? Do you focus on the regional competition you're in, or do you focus on the, professional tier 1 competition that you're in?
And it does make sense, right? It's pretty obvious on what you should focus.
Yeah.
They have, what do they have? 3 Pro League teams currently sitting in GSA, and all they need to figure out which of those teams is going to Challenger League is literally which of the non-Pro League teams places 4th. The 4th place team in GSA is going to be the one heading to Challenger League for next season.
I mean, by the way, it looks like right now there will be some random team first place, right? I feel like it's at the moment I think Division is first place.
I think it's Division.
Last time I checked.
There isn't a Wikipedia page up for GSA, which I was kind of sad about. GSA League 2020, unless there is, and it just never got properly linked.
I haven't found it myself.
Oh, it is up. Oh, it
Yeah.
just never gets linked. Okay, yeah, no, it's Division, then G2, then Team Secret, then Fact Gaming. Rogue is in 7th place in GSA. I did not see this until now.
Well,
Yeah.
also remember that GSA started before Rogue got Leon
and Karzeka
on the roster, right? So it's not
Right, I think so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
still,
this was
you'd
back when
expect
Hicks
Rogue
and
to
Rice.
win even with Hicks and Rice, right?
No, you
Yeah.
still would, yeah. Unless they're literally just treating it like, I don't know, streamed scrims, I suppose.
I mean, that's not
Which they are, I think.
Yeah, they are. That's not that's not the worst thing to do when you just say, look, we got to play this, but we might as well play it like a scrim because some of these teams are good, and maybe you have to put in effort, but you're not going to put in as much effort as you would in a tier 1 game.
There's also another thing with the Super Weeks, right? Like, what that really does, like playing 2 Pro League games in a week, is it takes practice games away, right? Can't scrim, can't do practice. And it's the same thing for national leagues too, right? You can't really practice everything you want to practice, even though you can treat it like a scrim. And it just means that there are like three days of the week where you just can't scrim because you're playing matches, like official matches. If you also want an off day, then there are suddenly not many days left to actually scrim and improve.
Yeah, I was talking to a player the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, this is my day off, so I'm just going to play a game that isn't Siege because all I do all day, every day is play Siege." It was, double scrims every day. We don't have a play day. And then when he's in Nationals, he also has a scrim on the day that he plays Nationals.
Makes sense.
Right? It's like 7 scrims a week, 3 games a week. That's a lot of Siege. And I can see sort of why players are talking about burnout now more than last season. Because shit.
Yeah.
If I had to do the same thing over and over, I don't know, 60, 70 hours a week, I'd get tired of it.
I mean, it does come back to esports just always being a 24/7 industry, kind of regardless. You have like this grandiose idea of what it is before you get into it, and then when you get into it, you realize the workload is so more like over the top than I think people were expecting. I remember I used to go to middle school with a current COD pro, someone who plays for the Atlanta FaZe, Priesta. He and I went to the same middle school, and I remember he would do a lot of Call of Duty stuff, because I remember actually looking back at his Facebook page back in middle school, and he was always like in tournaments, like almost like every night. And he would talk about it like when he was like in school, like when I would see him occasionally. We weren't the best of friends, but we knew each other's faces. And I just now seeing kind of where he's gotten to, I can't imagine like what he had to do, like even as a middle schooler or as a high schooler, to then go through and attempt to prepare for a Call of Duty professional lifestyle, or just an esports professional lifestyle. Takes so much time and dedication out of like whatever schedule you thought you had if you wanted to achieve something great in it.
Oh,
so
yeah. Because not only, we talk about not only do you have scrims, but then you also have your responsibilities to your organization as part of their marketing arm, right? Yep. Where it's like, oh, I'd love to go out to the bar, but I have to spend the next 4 hours filming a Mountain Dew advertisement.
And I can tell you, everyone hates that. Everyone hates media days. Everyone hates commercials. Like, please, just let me play. Don't bother me with
really
ads.
everyone just straight up just doesn't like media days, like for LAN events and stuff.
I know I don't.
Well, if you think about it, it's 2 hours of a photographer literally telling you, no, when you pose your arms like this, you have to raise them up a little bit. Okay, now lower them. Okay, raise them up a little bit. Okay, 45 degrees to your right. Okay, 46 degrees, right? And it's that for an hour.
Is it really that detailed? God.
It's just a pain too, right? It's not just the photos, right? It's also like cool videos and
yeah.
And then you got to do org stuff
because
done. When you are on a LAN, right? It's not just like the tournament organizer that wants you to do like video content. It's also your org that wants to do video content because they've got their own plans too.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So it's very much a case of oftentimes the time that you want to spend scrimming before a tournament or doing whatever before a tournament, relaxing, doing any sort of that, you can't, because you gotta sit there and just, basically be sort of part of the marketing arm for these companies and just go, oh, I gotta go sit down for an interview with Ubisoft. I gotta go sit down with an interview for CGG, right? Like, if you walk into any of the player-only spaces, they are normally like a couple of green screens with some cameras mounted for filming and a couch. And it's about
considering the amount of people that I know that were doing stuff at like just the most recent invitational, that doesn't surprise me like in the slightest.
Yeah. No, there's
Brycer was doing stuff on CGG's arm. Everyone has an org that's probably making something. But I've been like going back, and you can watch like SSG's after movie or TSM's after movie. A lot of them were just like somebody with a camera like following like the players around, rather than in some cases, hey, let's like take time out of your day to like do something extra. Just because I'm sure they were, dead tired from the travel at one point, and then had to go back in, go play, and then couldn't do anything, throughout the entire tournament aside from play and scrim, because they literally played up until the last day of invite. So
yeah, it's also a lot of extra fun for coaches and analysts, right? Because your day doesn't end on the last game of the day. That's where you need to rewatch all the other games that were played and to prepare for tomorrow's opponents. Like, I think all the times I've been to events so far, it has probably been the most stressful time of my entire life. Like, I have never done anything that was as stressful as going to DreamHacks, especially DreamHacks, because there's a lot of... You hear that too?
It's Jacob's fire engine. Yeah.
Okay.
I live across from a goddamn fire station. It's phenomenal.
Nice.
But I don't want to shut my windows because I already had to turn my fan off for audio quality, so we just have to endure this.
It's just 1 billion.
Fuck you! Stop saving people's lives, goddammit!
I think it's just 1 billion degrees everywhere. But yeah, like
At this point, yeah.
Have you ever just had to yell at someone from one of the orgs going like, look, these players can't do media right now. We need to do VOD review.
Hasn't been that bad so far.
Okay, that's good to hear that, some orgs still are just like, look, you're still players, so we gotta go let you play. Right? But that's
just a good thing that not every LAN event had media requirements. Like, I don't remember DreamHacks at all ever having.
No. But with DreamHacks, there are a bunch of other issues with you just have to be on the venue for 12 hours.
Yeah, DreamHack.
Please don't get me started on DreamHacks.
Do we need to bring up Helby's bring water back in cups from drinking fountains?
Yeah, we talked about that with Helby, and Helby had to, I don't know if you had to do this, but he was basically funneling cups back and forth because they didn't give his players water, so he had to go take a cup, fill it up with a water fountain.
That's the DreamHack experience.
It's like an initiation process.
It's actually it's when you get to a DreamHack, it's so disillusional. My first tournament ever, my first LAN ever was DreamHack Winter.
Yeah,
and it's actually so bad. Please,
no, because
it's actually so sad.
I remember, I don't know, you probably grew up watching a lot of DreamHack CS and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you sit there and you watch DreamHack CS, and you're like, oh my god, this is the pinnacle. It's got the live audience and the crowd and the camera, right?
To be fair, it kind of is, yeah.
And then I went to DreamHack Winter 2019. That stage is fucking small.
Yep.
You go there and you're just like, oh, this is just PAX with esports. This is just...
We're talking about the CS stage at DreamHack Winter last year?
Yes. It was not particularly DreamHack is very much more of a LAN than it is anything else, right? They had a giant stage, huge, probably took up, I don't know, 100 meters, right? And I was sitting in the audience watching the Mortal Kombat finals on it. I was probably one of 15 people.
Makes sense.
It is nuts how disillusioning DreamHack is.
I don't know. You don't really go to that. I mean, you're going to DreamHack for Counter-Strike, and that's probably it. Maybe
you're going to DreamHack because it's the biggest LAN in the world, right?
You go there for the internet connection. You go there for the local area network experience to be there and do shit, not necessarily watch shit.
Yeah. Which is a lot of fun, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'd love to go at some point.
Oh yeah, no, I bring my computer to PAX.
I have friends who live 2 hours away from where DreamHack winter is typically in Sweden. So I'm like, hey, can I come at some point after COVID? They're like, fuck yeah, let's go. So I have a date in Sweden at some point, hopefully.
One of the best parts about living in Massachusetts is I live near PAX East, and the front 2/3 of PAX is all video games, but then the back 2/3 is entirely board games. Like there's probably 300 tables just for Magic the Gathering. It's so great.
That's both great and kind of sad at the same time.
Don't you ever insult my cardboard crack, okay? I don't.
Listen, fuck ass. Right? I've played Magic one time in my life, and it was a good 5-6 years ago. I have a starter pack from TwitchCon that I haven't opened yet.
Yeah, it's a terrible game. Never play it.
What if I want to? What if I'm looking to get out of Siege? I just need some sort of
prepare to mortgage your house.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
The current meta deck costs...
Either play Magic or play Warframe.
Yeah, the current meta deck costs in Magic, I think about $450.
Excuse me, the fuck?
What?
Oh.
And I thought Hearthstone was expensive.
I was going to say, yeah, I was going to bring that up again.
Well, so paper Magic is different than Magic the Arena, right? You can get a meta deck in Magic the Arena for about you can get a couple Magic decks in Magic the Arena or Magic the Gathering Arena for like $300-400, right? But
it's still a lot of money.
No, it's an obscene amount of money, and I am very lucky in that.
It's like you're trying to make like the Arena out to be like better than paper just because of the cost difference, but nope, there's almost no difference.
That's correct. Yes.
Fuck. All right, fine. I'll just invest all my time in Warframe instead.
That's a mistake as well. I have.
I can't find an escape. All my life is Siege.
Wait, hold on. Let me check my Warframe stats.
Oh, god damn it.
2,871 hours. What do you want to know?
You have more time in Warframe than you have time in Siege, god damn it.
Yes, it's...
Now the true question is, how much money did you invest into Siege to get sick alpha packs? Because in Magic, you can at least play games with the cards you buy, right?
That's a good point.
In Siege...
Yeah, in Siege, it's, why did you buy all of those... Why have you bought every single, Pro League skin pack? I'm like, me make doll pretty.
Because fuck RNG. Make doll pretty? God damn it.
I like having all of my shitty characters look pretty in the kill cams when I die. Is that too much?
Okay.
Well, all I do is play anchor and support, right? So it's not like I'm ever gonna survive a round.
Nah. You're never gonna get a kill. You don't need it.
No.
You're playing Smoke every time. Smoke doesn't get kills. Smoke just sits there and act like he can area deny, and then by the very end, when someone still plants in the midst of his smoke... Jesus.
Unless you're Bride, of course. Then you do get smoke kills on Thermite and Smoke.
You could be Bride playing Recruit, and you could...
Probably.
God, that was the most...
You act like... Dude, Recruit in 2020 is also not a handicap or a problem, by the way. You play nothing but M249 with a reflex sight and Super Shorty with a Nitro Cell on attack. Like, what the fuck are these Recruit loadouts?
Hold on, you can get a Nitro Cell on attack?
I don't remember what the fuck he has. It might be like two, like smokes plus frags on one operator with a Super Shorty and an M249 with 100 rounds.
I mean, sure, but like...
Recruit is goddamn overpowered.
Can't you do that with Capitao?
Not the frags part. But mostly the same, yes.
I'd rather have asphyxiating bolts than frag grenades, to be perfectly honest.
Didn't they change that to actually be fire bolts? It's not asphyxiating bolts anymore?
I don't know.
I swear they changed it because they're like, nah, screw this whole thing. We'll just call it a fire bolt.
I think they changed it because they actually made like a fire propagation system for Goyo.
Yeah.
And they were like, we might as well use this for, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, Bride has been such a ridiculous pickup for...
Up until the Rogue game, he had legit like a 2.13 like KD or rating or something fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, he is so goddamn amazing, man. And I didn't pick him up in my draft buff league, and I went shit.
I mean, let me check. Bride. I just want to see his stats because
he had like 2.87 KD or something, or 2.78. That's
even in a loss?
Before the road game, I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, in the road game, he still went positive, right?
Probably not
GG.
2.7 KD though.
No, not 2.7 KD. Bride went 8-8. So,
damn. Okay.
Not
still not terrible, but for a losing situation, I guess it's about all you can really do. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just very nice to see that Shaiko doesn't need to carry all the weight anymore.
Yeah, no, it used to be the Shaiko show, and now it's the Bride and Shaiko show. And, that's not knocking the rest of the team, because that team is very much built around, look, we have Bride and we have Shaiko. Everyone else, go support them, right? It's what you do around players like Simple, right? Where it's Simple is there. The rest of the team is organized to make sure that Simple can go do things. And, now that they've added Boomage to that team, it's a little bit different. It's sort of similar to that. I watch too much CSGO. So,
what are Shaiko's stats right now? Do you still have the page open? What are Shaiko's stats?
I don't know his full stats, like for the whole season, but I pulled up the stats from CHG's Twitter thing, not from this. Let me check.
Because if I remember correctly, he's been it looks like he's been performing worse, but that's probably just because Bride is stealing his kills, right? It's not like
at this point, yeah.
It's not like really Shaiko actually became worse. It's just that, imagine if Bride didn't join BDS, then Shaiko would have all the kills that Bride has now, but BDS would be losing, right? So basically, the same thing that happened before.
I mean, Shaiko, just from looking, Shaiko definitely hasn't gone negative ever. He's still.
No, I'm pretty sure he's either been positive or he's gotten, right.
Yeah,
at
he's still. Yeah, he's still 1.0 or higher in every game. But you got to think, would that be higher if Bride wasn't there? Like you said, just cannibalizing all those kills. Right? That is.
And I don't even know if that's the role that they necessarily want him to be playing in. Unless they wanted to give their top fragging power to the guy who's also playing primary support on both attack and defense.
Well, Shaiko
if they're
is
trying to split up the meta a little bit, then great.
I mean, Shaiko is
Shaiko's still primary entry, I think.
Shaiko's primary entry on Hibana still, right? So
that's the Shaiko experience, right?
So
you play Hibana and just don't care about hard bridging at all.
It's the Shaiko effect,
right? But now that you have someone like Bride who can just walk into a site and just, sit there and go, I'd like you all to be dead now, and they just give up, right? You can actually have Shaiko do some stuff on that hard breaching operator that he only plays because he likes the gun. Right? I mean,
God, I remember when Alems joined that team, and they made 4th place at an invitation, which is something I think a lot of people forget. But now that they have Bride, Shaiko, the IGL power of Alems plus 2 very solid other players in Renshiro and Rafal, that team is going to look so freaking scary at a LAN event whenever another one happens again, and I am all for it, because good lord, that looks incredibly scary.
Well, I mean,
I also find...
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
What I also find kind of interesting on the BDS situation, where they have both Shepard and both Shaiko and Bride fragging. Yeah. It's somewhat similar to what's happening with Empire right now, where at least Shepard is fragging on hard support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although they don't have a Shaiko equivalent at the moment, at least.
Yeah.
But I think if I remember correctly, yesterday Shepard did not play Smoke anymore. If I remember correctly, Shepard played Flex yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be something here where they do decide, okay, our hard support is fragging, might as well put him on Flex and have more impact on the early game.
I think
according to the infographic, it looks like he did play Capitao Smoke.
Okay, because I remember it was Coastline, right?
And, yes.
And Cypher was playing Smoke, at least in some of the rounds I watched.
Yeah.
So. Okay, but I feel like there's still an argument to be made here that if your hard support is doing all the fragging, might as well put him up into Flex and hope that he gets some more influence on the early stages of the round. Because I feel like in general, kills are more valuable the earlier they happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because then you can actually like use the advantage you gain. Like at the moment, like Shepard is always equalizing the advantage like later on because they're already in a disadvantage. But obviously, it would be better if you could create an advantage somewhere early in the round.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
If you're able to get a really, really early pick, then it does force the team that had the player picked to then kind of reassess their strategy depending on who the operator was that they just lost. Like I remember Retro last night during the game against SSG, DG versus SSG on Theme Park. I remember there was a time where he was like the opening kill like 2 rounds in a row, and the second time it happened, he died like 10 seconds into the round. I don't remember if he was trying to spawn peek and SSG just went, nope, fuck you! But they just lose Retro really, really fast, and then you could just tell DG's like, alright, well shit, and then they had to go back and readjust stuff like for like the remainder of the round, and I don't think they won that one, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So...
And I think another thing that has to be said is that, you know, I'm just looking at all of these VP matches right now, or Team Empire matches right now, and besides for the one against Virtus Pro, right, joystick has gone negative every game.
Joystick's gone negative every game.
4 out of the past 5 games, joystick has gone negative. So I think what's happening in Team Empire is that joystick is cooling off, and someone like Shepard is very much heating up. So they're having to consider role swaps, right? So maybe, you know, because in that VP game, Shepard went 12-1, Shepard went 8-7, Shepard went 9-6. Let's see, Shepard went 6-8, and then Shepard went 7-8, right? So it's very much now it's the Scyther and Shepard show rather than.
Would you say that joystick is kind of cooled off because of that role switch, or is it more like, well, he is cooling off and not doing as hot, so we will make a role switch as a result of that kind of thing? Because I've been trying to figure out what joystick's been playing, and it's just like, well, it almost seems like he's doing what everyone else it doesn't want to do.
No, joystick's been playing Ash Jaeger the entire time.
And it hasn't been working nearly as effectively as it has been. Like the Russian cyborg joke is a thing, but now we're seeing Shockwave get the fucking tattoo all the way down his mouse arm and not joystick. And I'm like,
and to be fair, it did stop working like a long time ago, I think.
Yeah.
Like ever since after Raleigh, right?
Raleigh, I think.
Like
Yeah.
Empire kind of cooled off, right? And a big part of that was joystick, and then I guess just not getting as many kills as before.
Yeah.
And you could see that like they noticed that someone was wrong in their team, right? Like they basically changed their entire playstyle, right? Like they're not the old Empire anymore, which kind of makes me personally pretty sad.
A little sad, yeah.
If you like look at the way they're playing, like strategy wise at the moment, they're not playing like those really well thought out attacks anymore. They're not playing like the machine style Rainbow where you just do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I mean,
Not doing that anymore.
Yeah,
and I guess they had to, right? Like they were probably forced to do it, otherwise they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of sad to see that. Not gonna lie, I really did enjoy that kind of playstyle a lot.
I mean, Empire used to be, you know, I remember talking to pro players and they were like, yeah, I mean, we would just sit there and we would just play, and then Empire would run the same thing over and over, and every time we tried to stop them, we just couldn't.
Yep.
Right? It was Empire had drones. It's the same thing with SSG now that it used to be with Empire, which is if you are on the map, a drone is watching you.
Fair.
Right? That's what Empire used to do.
Just love to see proper spectator mode, right? So you could actually quantify what's going on, right? Because like, people do say that Empire had like really good droning, but like, what's the thing behind that? Like, would love to figure out. Obviously, that's too late now.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still see that with SSG, right? Where it would be fantastic if we could get a spectator mode that would put a little, you know, maybe a little gray box around drones, so you could figure out how SSG knows where everyone is.
That right there is a coach's fucking nightmare. A spectator system that shows you where the rest of the intel is across the map.
Yep.
Oh no. Like it's one thing for the drones themselves to be highlighted when the players are in them, but if they're always highlighted and you figure out the exact spots to put them, imagine what that does to the intel meta where you're only able to keep one drone configuration for a site or a map for probably one game before it gets broadcast. Then everyone figures out how you were doing what you were doing.
Yeah. Good thing I'm not a coach. So
Yeah, I mean,
now I can advocate for it.
yeah. I mean, CS and Dota have that system, right, where everybody can see everything in replays.
Yep.
Yes.
So I guess, and the CS and Dota pros
But
aren't walking around going,
they're not leaving something there that can be used for intel later into like the course of a round, though.
in Dota?
Like, no, everything in CS is expendable. Like, everything is expendable, no matter what you purchase. Dota, I'm less familiar with because I don't know how they're... I've seen some... Like, the only Dota I ever watch is the International, so I still
You can
don't
put
have
wards
really
up
any
in
idea
Dota.
what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
but,
that's
okay,
right.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dota.
But also,
Dota,
like, teams would just adapt, right? Like, you always adapt. Like, it might screw over a few times in the beginning that all of their, like, usual drone locations are highlighted now. Teams will adapt. Like, it's not going to change that much.
Yeah,
It would probably just change faster, if anything, because I think even if SSG understood, like, oh, hey, we'll do whatever the hell it is we do with our intel because we're kings of intel, and then, well, we're doing this with the expectation that we will probably have to change it up at some point just because somebody will find, figure out what we're doing or where we're putting those drones, and then we'll have to go through and make the switch. Like, everyone, I think, already kind of expects to do that with time, but then you give people the spectator thing and just like, well, it will happen every time much faster, and we can do this setup for like one round or one game, and then we won't ever be able to do it again.
yeah, I mean...
Or like one setup to see if it works or not.
But that also kind of assumes the fact that people are even putting in that much effort into anti-threading, or like even... Because like the thing is, it's like even if it was possible to know all of the drone locations, it's actually kind of difficult to teach those to your players, like, not gonna lie.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
People do not like learning stuff, or like they don't like learning stuff by heart. And especially considering super weeks, right? You have limited time to do preparation, and it also just doesn't really fit into the playstyle of teams, right? Like, just like the entire of preparing for opponents, like, doesn't even fit the playstyle of a lot of teams. Like, also kind of rogue, right? And a lot of EU teams in general, I feel like Vitality, G2, Rogue, all of these teams do not, profit that much. Like, they don't have like proper anti-strats. They don't go to their opponents and see, okay, what exactly are these people doing? How do we counter it? It's not really what's going on.
I think for EU, you probably maybe don't have to have a super ridiculous anti-strat regimen unless you're a team that really wants to try to excel and make the top. I don't know if you necessarily have to, given the amount of time that you really have to prep for on a team-by-team basis. I think North America, it's a different story because you're really only playing like one match per week typically. I think this week in North America is kind of an exception because now we're heading into the decider, or we're heading into like whatever is happening after the decider games from last night. I'm not totally sure how they're structuring it out if we're moving us into different groups, but the idea is everyone in North America plays like one best of 3 a week, whereas everyone in Europe still has one best of 1 to play against a different opponent on 2 different days a week. So,
Well, sure, but then you have to consider if you're playing a best of 3, right? That heavily opens up the map pool, and if you're going to sit there and you're going to go, right, I'm going to teach my players 180 drone spots in the next 5 days, I'm going to say no, right?
I would fuck off royally. I would not want to do that.
And I mean,
I'd learn maybe a third of that and then stop.
I can't speak from the player's perspective, but just for me personally, just thinking about this, and I could be, flat out wrong, but it really seems like showing drones on spectators and having a replay system where you can see everyone, that would sort of force more ingenuity into strats rather than the element of surprise. And it's important to have the element of surprise, right? There's a certain point where 6-pick matters when you switch off, switch off the thermite to a finca and just bolt in, right? But there's also sort of this thing where it's, well, everybody knows you're going to run. What are we running these days? Sophia, Ashe, Thermite, Hibana, Maverick,
Thatch when he's not banned.
Thatch when he's not banned. Monty.
I wish.
I mean, that's the attack,
Fucking
right?
meta.
That's the attack.
Especially on like if you take a look at Clubhouse, right? Like there is zero variation in operator lineups on Clubhouse. You always play Zofia, you always play Sledge, you always play Thatcher, you always play Maverick, and you always like Thermite, Maverick, Hibana. There are like 6 operators that are always here on Clubhouse.
And sometimes
one of those is always banned, so like there is literally no variation on Clubhouse in terms of operator lineup.
And sometimes a team will run a Monty, and the team that runs the Monty wins, but we're not going to talk about that.
God, Pengu is such a god. I love that, man.
Well, it's not even Pengu. I've been sitting here just quietly advocating it, but Reaper over here has been just yelling about it. They're just there needs to be more Monty.
Monty, everyone forgets how fucking busted of an operator Monty is, by the way. In the context of everything else in Siege, like, good grief, why are we not abusing shield ops more than we currently are?
I'm telling you, if people start playing Monty more, he's going to get nerfed at the end of this season. Like, Monty is actually really, really strong, if not even overpowered.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, pro players? If you wanna ban Monty like you ban Thermite and he'll get changed. All right, there we go.
Keep on fucking with Monty to the point that he keeps getting picked, and then everyone in the pro community complains about him. I just remember watching Meepy did a VOD, or he did a VOD review of like the very end of Challenge League Season 11 for Europe, which is like the first Diffuse Kids versus
The Secret.
The first Diffuse Kids versus Orgless game on Club, which is where the Monty was picked. And he goes, like, Monty's quietly OP. And then we go and find out in the second game, which is Clubhouse again, but with a Monty ban, the result completely flips. Yep. It's the exact opposite of what we thought it was going to be because Monty is not in play. Like, I'll jump on the fuck Monty train as much as possible because, good lord, but I don't understand why teams don't want to take advantage of what is kind of a free round win if used effectively with Monty. That's how easy it can get.
Well, I mean, when we're in this 20-second meta, right? And I think it's also important to remember that we don't have Echo at all.
Correct.
And that's sort of changing the meta too, right? And that's changing the meta for the better because you had to ban Echo, right? And now you sort of have this flex pick of what you can ban. It's, used to ban Mira and Echo, and that was it. And now you can ban things that aren't Echo, and people are like, what if we banned Valkyrie?
And you can still ban Mira.
How saucy. I mean, obviously, we're still going to ban Mira because she's Mira. But,
when do we get to a point where we can ban every operator equally and not just keep on banning?
Well, with no Echo to counter the Monty, what else is there to counter him?
So, if we have Echo banned and Monty's perma-picked every round, can we please bring a Capcan meta back into Pro League?
No.
For the love of God, please.
Face checking a Capcan deals like 7 damage to a Monty?
Yeah.
Right? It's somewhere between 7 and 15. I forget what the actual number is, but it's nothing. Right?
It's not great.
Damage on hit on lesions is gone.
And the thing is, like, you're also not even playing those operators, right? Like, the 20-second meta is the 20-second meta because you are playing operators like Wama, Jaeger, Goyo, Smoke. And there's, like, out of all these, there's one operator that can, like, somewhat counter Montaigne, even though, honestly, like, Smoke isn't even that great of a counter.
I was going to say,
because Monty can just walk away.
Yeah, in the current meta, like, the lineup that facilitates the current meta is not well suited against Monty, right? It's actually terrible against Monty. And even by
currently, watch Malusi come into that play and kind of shake some things up, though. I feel in terms of whether Monty keeps getting played or not. That's a somewhat effective counter, I think.
I guess,
but that depends on how much she's nerfed into the ground before the 3-month embargo is lifted, I think.
Yeah, but Montaigne is strong. People are missing out.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Hold on. We went through like 3 EU teams. There's someone else we can talk about, right? Let's see. Oh yeah. I forgot G2 existed.
Oh.
Which is kind of a sad thing to say considering they're not doing terribly. They did just trounce Vitality 7-1, which I'm still sad about. I still want Vitality to do good, but god damn it, G2's
I think Jess said it best in that Vitality will be a great team next season.
Next season.
They certainly...
Next season.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, they're certainly not a great team at the moment.
2021, Vitality is going to be the greatest thing we've ever seen. Yeah.
But
by next season, I'm pretty sure she meant next stage, right?
Yeah, next split. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably difficult for Vitality, right? Like, out of all the roster changes you can make, like, switching your in-game leader is obviously the most impactful one.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd expect a team like that to have some growing pains. And like the thing is, like Rogue, for example, also did 2 roster changes, right? But it didn't change their playstyle, or like didn't really change their playstyle.
Well, they changed their IGL too, right? Leon's the new IGL.
But the general playstyle
but they didn't change their
right?
playstyle, yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what's happening for Vitality, where obviously, Fabian has some of his own ideas, and you would expect a team like that to have some growing pains. Although we should see some improvement by now, right? Like at
this point, you would think so.
There is a grace period, but starting to get,
They've got 1 win, and it was over Tempera, which I don't really know if that's saying much because I still kind of feel like Tempera will forever be an underdog, at least for like this stage. Maybe next stage, I don't know if I'm really going to place them in like an upper echelon, just because for the same reason that I wouldn't have put Empire in an upper echelon in season 9 because it was the first time they'd ever played in PL. So I still don't know if they won, and then I'm like, okay, that's fine. They're the real deal. Same thing with Navi season 10. But for me, the teams that always come up from CL are always like, okay, well, you have a season. We'll kind of figure you out a little bit. But it's almost really good for a team like Tempera to not shoot up to the very, very top, like super, super fast, because then in the cases of both Empire and Na'Vi, they won Pro League in the same season in which they were rookies. The problem then is, well, okay, you literally won the thing. Now the only place to go from here is down.
Yeah, whereas there are a lot of expectations on you.
Yeah, so if you're not doing super hot, and like when Fours was in the past couple seasons because they're now VP, them not having those expectations to uphold and not shooting to the very, very top nearly as fast, I guess kind of the same thing for BDS last season too, meant that, all right, well, now we can kind of temper expectations a little bit. We have an idea of where you sat before. Now, if you do worse, it's obviously because you weren't able to adjust to your first season very well. But if you do better in your second season, then congratulations. So if Tempera, sits within like the mid to upper tier, but doesn't like qualify for the major or something, I still won't be disappointed because it's a newer EU team. So,
yeah. And I do actually like Tempera quite a lot. I feel like they're in terms of strategy specifically. Like they have shown like some interesting strats, some things that you just haven't really seen before. So I always look forward to watching Tempera games. Yeah, just for the chance of seeing like something new.
French teams traditionally have either been very strat heavy or very frag heavy, and there's like nothing in between. Right? I mean, you compare. I don't know, like season 7, season 8 Vitality with season 11 BDS, where it was one team was Vitality was just just a constrictor snake, and they would just circle you and circle you and circle you and circle you, and they would maybe pick off a roamer here, pick off a roamer there, but when they would execute generally in like a 5v4 or a 4v4 situation almost every time, and they would just win because they would plan around, right, we know we're going to attack with 7.5 seconds left to plan.
Yeah, I mean, you only need 1 second left to plan, so.
Yeah. I mean, Vitality was perfecting the 20-second meta years ago. I don't know.
Just ahead of
back
the game.
then, it wasn't a forced one.
Yeah.
God, man. The era in which we all live in. Now, I think the cool thing about Tempera is I remember watching their first game in the EUL against Chaos, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way in which they might be kind of changing the way the Coastline is played, which is why I really liked it. I don't know if I'd seen a game where we were opening up so many really, really long angles on a map like Coast, just trying to find like a way to change up the way it's played, and seeing someone run a dock. It was like Shinka running a dock consistently, and you're playing hookah billiards, and he's just opening up, like, he's opening quad wall and getting an angle all the way onto luggage from billiard table. Like, he's looking all the way across the goddamn map, and I'm thinking, damn, this is actually kind of an interesting way to play it, because no one had tried that before.
Like I think we had seen like Aqua holds in the past, right? Where you play, like, where you reinforce Aqua head, you place a shield in there.
Right.
And like that has been seen before, but like that spin on it with the quad wall open, so you can get an angle into luggage. I've never seen that before.
No, that's pretty good.
I mean, to me, to me, it reminded me a lot of what Dark Zero did on Bank at the Invitationals, where you would stick someone over in your vault, and you would open up every line of sight into CCTV. Into servers, right?
And then they had hyper on dock. Like
and you would hyper on dock, and basically you
sitting in vault waiting for him to come in server. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. So you would just basically sit there, and someone would, someone would peek, and you just gun them down from the entire way across the map because you were ready and they weren't.
Longest angle in the game. Yeah, at that point.
Yeah. Right. I think, until Doc's ACOG is removed, if that ever happens.
If it ever happens.
I think we're going to see teams experiment more and more with right. We have the most destruction we've ever had in this game, right? Castle shotgun. Basically, everyone has a shotgun these days or an impact grenade, and you think about all the operators who have that soft destruction. What
add orcs into the mix now too?
Yeah, what crazy shit can we get away with? And
I think. If that turns into more destructibility and the meta changing on Coast, which everyone has referred to as the Call of Duty World League map in Siege, then I think there's a good possibility that we can look at some meta changes. But if it's just a matter of just opening up like longer lines of sight, like what was the game that you were reviewing like yesterday or 2 days ago on Stream Reaper? Like I remember someone was opening up a hold in the VIP from almost the same bomb site. Someone's looking for a deep angle onto Hall of Fame for billiards almost. I don't remember.
Was it Versus Pro?
It might have been.
But yeah,
was
like
it a BDS game?
It was also Disrupt.
Yes, yeah, it was that one too. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, we have seen this kind of idea a few times where people just open up everything on, like they play theater, like open up everything, like every VIP wall, every master wall, every Pentos wall, and then just they play with like ACOGs from outside. It was really nice to play with TCSGs on the last patch. That's been kind of nerfed a bit.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I like these setups. I like these setups a lot.
Yeah.
Just makes Coastline more complex, I guess. Even though, like in a way, it just makes Coastline even more about gunfights, right? Because you're just, you're playing the ACOG gunfights.
Yeah.
But in a way, it also does make it more complex because kind of got to think about what you do here. Can't just simply walk in and just, and then decide what to do. You kind of need to think about what you want to do before you walk in.
Also have people complaining about, nope, Coastline is not a siege map, and I'm just like, really? Come on.
I mean, Coastline...
It was my favorite map in the game, but I'm a hard-stuck Plat 1, hard-stuck Plat 3 Gold 1 shitter, so don't listen to me.
I think you can make some adjustments to Coastline to make it like a really fantastic map. Like, Sternab was talking about pushing the planting site up on delivery.
Where, don't have it be right in service doorway. Push it up like past like the desk on the left.
Past the desk, right? Yeah. So you would have to get past the desk to plant the diffuser, right? I think Coastline is a fine map. I think it could use a little tweaks, but nothing like. Give it more of the clubhouse treatment than the theme park treatment.
Makes sense, yeah.
That's actually a really good way to put it, yeah.
Because honestly, I don't even mind Coastline. It is frag heavy, right? But I think it's fine. I think it's fine for a map to be like it's fine for there to be different maps that reward different playstyles. Clubhouse, Cafe, Villa, Theme Park reward like strategic playstyle. Coastline rewards aim and gun skill, right? Like that's part of the game too. We're not playing chess, right?
Yeah, I mean we're not playing Magic the Gathering here. So.
No, we're playing chess with guns. It's a whole other game. It's not even chess with guns at that point. That's actually one thing that I tried getting into a little bit more before casting Challenge League for North America last season, but wasn't able to really do in time. The idea of that exact kind of thing. You would play a map not because you would want to strat, You would play that map because you just want to get kills, go in and gun everyone down. And I kind of want to go back and try to do that in like the next opportunity I get if I'm able to cast on a tournament or a league situation, just because it's a distinction that not a lot of people make. A lot of people just think, oh, this team picks this map because they're good on this map and they found a way to, effectively counter-strat everything on it. But the other philosophy of, well, hey, we also know where everyone sits, so we're just going to shoot him in the head, it doesn't come up nearly as much, just because you kind of assume everyone just knows, like, the best way to effectively roam clear, open up the wall, throw a smoke grenade in, clear the ADSs, go for the plant. No, I just want to go in and click.
I mean, well, there comes certain maps where you sort of know where people are, right? I mean, you think you're defending CCTV cache on
Club, yeah.
On Club, right?
You got one guy sitting rafters, one can usually roam and take out anywhere from, master back to construction. He can roam that entire side of things. Yeah, there's always one sitting in cache. There's one usually top red behind it, deployable. Like, there's a formula behind it, yeah.
You know where everyone is, pretty much at all. Like, there's usually only one or two variables about, like, where the fuck is the vigil? And you can generally find him. But
good point.
There is a certain element of, well, maybe if you just know where everyone is, it just becomes about clicking their heads.
Yeah,
right?
like I think CC is like a pretty good example of people, like that site is not won through a 5v5 plant, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Like you win this site by actually running in, getting kills, and then like planting because there are two like guys below, right? Like that's how this site usually works. And I think that's fine too, right? Because like especially like everything leading up to that point is very strategic, right? Like you need to think about how to get CC wall open, you need to think about how to get construction wall open for master takes.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of thinking involved. You need to get rid of the Goyo shields.
I mean, you could write a fucking master's thesis on getting CC wall open. Yeah, like
I think you've made the joke before too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like CCTV cache to me at least is the archetypal quintessential siege like bomb site because it has everything, and every team has something completely different that they do to stop that wall from being opened or to get that wall being opened. I remember when Maverick first came out, it was anarchy on that wall because because everyone would just sit there and go like, wait, hold on. Are you telling me I don't need to sit here and just spend like 2 minutes getting this wall open? I can just inverted rappel, take my little torch and just go walls open. It's amazing.
Yeah. That
frees up like 4 operators.
Yeah, I think that's actually the biggest reason why I hate Maverick, right? Like, I do like this aspect of Siege. I dislike the fact that you can just like, hey, I'm Maverick, I can just open the wall on my own. I don't need any support here. Bandit, don't care. Mute, don't care. Kate, don't care. I don't care about anything. I just open the wall here.
I really want Leon to make his video about how to properly Maverick trick. That way the plebeians in the games that I get actually know how the fuck it works. Leon, please!
There were there was a time frame in Pro League, right, where when even pros like didn't properly knew how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Maverick,
that shit was embarrassing, guys.
Maverick
like, come on, you're getting
hard.
paid.
It's hard to figure out, but once you figure it out, it's super easy to do, right?
It's clockwork.
It's just
and like there's no excuse as a pro to not be able to do it, right? And like,
there
were some sad things going on.
There are people that wrote the book on it, just like there are people who wrote the book on how to bandit trick back in fucking year 1, year 2, right? Like that
I will happily admit I still don't know how the fuck to bandit trick. Right?
That is your problem, sir. Come on.
Right? No, I've been on like Smoke and Rook too much, and they're just like, hey, can you go bandit and trick? I can Cade trick. Okay, no, but we need a bandit trick. I can mute juggle. We need a bandit, Chowder.
Just go spawn for the thermite.
And then the thermite blows me up. Yeah.
Do you play with audio off? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's how you do it. It's a sound
actually
cue.
not that difficult.
Yeah.
Stop bullying me.
Look, I'll bully someone for not knowing how to bandit trick because I'm not able to Cade trick to save my goddamn life. I've never gotten that timing down.
The key is you just don't play. You just
don't play.
say, yo, guy, like, go and K-trick it. Then you don't even need to do you don't even need to know how to do it properly. You just need to know that it works. And then you just say, look, guy, can you just banner trick this, please? Thank you. Can you Maverick this open? I don't know how to, like, I'm terrible at opening stuff with Maverick, right? Like, I don't know I don't know how it goes.
Yeah.
I just know that it does work, and then I can just tell my teammates.
I'm bad at two things. I'm bad at Maverick tricking, and I'm bad at being able to time nades and try to blow something up from below, like with the frog nade. I've never gotten the nade timing, like, anywhere close to correct. I could throw an impact, but that's the other team. God damn it. All right. Do we want to do a little bit of talk about North American League before we dive into being sad that Vitality is not doing as good as they could?
Sure. I mean, I think for me, goddamn, Disrupt has been doing good.
They've surprised me so much.
Certainly like seeing that a lot.
Much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really, really interested to see how they continue to progress, because my God.
I think the story is definitely Disrupt and Oxygen. I think those are the two standout teams, because Oxygen was just, I mean, Oxygen just beat teams to death. You know?
Somehow they 2-0'd SSG, which I didn't think was going to happen. But they 2-0'd SSG and only 2-1 to DG, which just is a testament to how good Disrupt has gotten over the course of the past several months without having any official broadcasted matches or anything.
Yeah.
So that is not a bad stat line, or a stat line that they should be disappointed with at all. They've won, or they've gone to map 3 of every series, and most of the time, I think if I remember right, Oxygen won the first map in their series. Disrupt won the first map in their series, but then EU brought it back. SSG won the first map in their series, then DG brought it back. Like they've gone to like round or map 3 every time, and 2 out of 3 games they've played in the North American League is because they've had to bring it back on map 2 to find a way to stay in it. Like they fight and fight and fight and fight, and it's one of the most overtly aggressive playstyles that shouldn't work but does. And
right.
It's been really interesting to see how Group A in the North American Leagues has had to adapt to what the hell they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you know, just, they're definitely punching above their weight. I don't know if you felt like that when you were doing analysis work for them, Reaper.
I felt like even back then, they were still better than people were giving them credit for. Mm-hmm. Like they were always better than people were saying. Like there was just a lot of bad press around the team that kind of clouded people's perceptions about their actual skill level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, like, don't get me wrong, I am somewhat surprised that it's been that close. But I always knew that they were like a middle of the pack team. Or like that was my impression anyways when I was coaching them for that month.
Yeah. And I mean, coming out of the gate as a fresh team, middle of the pack, that's pretty good. I mean, you took Oxygen, which is one of the best teams in NA, and Space Station, which is the best team in the world, to 3 maps. And, you know, there are European teams. TSM can't even say that they took fucking Space Station to 3 maps, right? Like,
maybe with the exception of the last invite series that they played, but yeah, I can still the differences are still there.
Yeah. Right? It's nuts just how good Disrupt has and how high they can go. And then, I mean, Oxygen is just fucking trucking people.
There's a part of me with DG, before we touch on OXG for a second,
Sure.
There's a part of me that somehow attributes a lot of this to DG recognizing a sleeper when they had one. When they got NJR on the roster. Because I don't know if anyone else was looking for somebody like NJR, or was maybe really looking his way for a Pro League offer, because I don't think NJ, he only recently turned 18, therefore never had any Challenger League experience or anything. But DG brings him in, trials him out after Drip, and then realizes that this is probably the play. And so far, it has proven to be true. NJR is ridiculous on whatever role he plays. It's primarily entry, but that's because he's just so good at isolating people, and the rest of DG are working around him to make sure that he's able to do his job effectively. But he's able to capitalize, and his stat line shows for it. But nobody was looking NJR's way up until probably DG as a result of that. Kind of the same thing with Iconic turning 18 recently, and now he's on the Sonics.
Yeah, I mean, all of the freshman Siege players, like, not just Iconic and NJR, but also J90 has been...
J90, Mother of God.
Sorry,
Zero.
Jed90.
Worst.
J90 has been just absolutely mad. Like, his stats, he was, what, 21 and 13? During...
He was positive by like +6 or +7, yeah.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of successful rookies, right, this season?
Yeah.
Especially, like, but only in NA, right? Have there been... Do you count the new challenger teams as rookies?
I wouldn't count them yet, but I'm trying to think of individual rookies.
Always has been doing pretty good.
Oh yeah,
has he done on the level of like NGR?
No, I don't think he's done on the level of NGR.
I wonder if
so
I
far
the
season appears to be NJ, but
I think there are Pro League players on Pro League teams who have been on those Pro League teams for years who are sort of looking at NJR and going, shit, that's the next generation.
He's setting the standard almost by himself, but he's doing it with everyone else who used to be on that older BT.
Some of these guys are just sitting there, just probably going like, if I gotta play like, NJR and Iconic, those guys just turned 18, right? They turned 18, and then 6 days later, they had a contract in their hands.
They were 13 or 14 when Siege came out, just for reference.
Yeah. We're seeing
these kids were born in 2002, 2003, and I'm sitting over here as a 90s child going, fuck! I'm old. Right?
We're seeing sort of a new crop of players sort of start to come up, right? The old Oblivion roster, that underage T3 thing, those guys are all going to be in Pro League. That's not even a question. They're nuts. 100%. They're terrifying. I don't want to play ranked when they start playing. I'm out. We're done.
Just don't queue at 2 a.m. Eastern. You're fine.
I'm asleep at 2 a.m. Eastern. I'm not an NA Pro League player. I'm not up at like 4 a.m. making a pan pizza. What am I?
That's how you live. You grab popcorn, pizza, a rain, and just play ranked for a couple hours. Is it what they fucking do? Is it their regimen?
I think so. Some of them drink Red Bull because of the sponsorships, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We got to get NJR on the podcast at some point to ask him how the hell he's made this transition, because my word.
Yeah. No, but these guys are all, they're crazy, they're cracked, they're insane, and there's more of them. And that's sort of terrifying, because you think of the way that, a lot of these players, like, super and easily, they're, I'm not going to say they're washed up, because they're obviously not. But they're sort of getting on in years, which is to say they are above the age of 22, which means they're old.
It's so weird that we can say that about people. I don't like that. If Troy's old as shit and he's 23, 24, then
Troy said he was old as shit and he's a year younger than me, and I felt my entire body just start shutting down immediately. Like, I went into rigor mortis and I was just like, oh, so this is how it happens. Okay. Oh!
You don't have a choice. If he's old, you're old.
Right? But there are a lot of these players. Like, everyone on Space Station Gaming has been playing this game at a professional level for 2 years, at least.
I'd say maybe 3, but yeah, I feel that.
Right? I mean, you think about that roster started even before Bittersweet. Just the core of that roster were Thinking Nate, right? And
right.
You look at all these guys coming in, and Space Station Gaming literally, probably except for scrims, has never faced anything like NJR, which is, I have been playing this game since I was literally in middle school. And not only do I have the experience, right? Not only do I have the experience, but I also have that youthful sort of, my mind is completely made of putty and you can just teach me how to play this fucking game however you want and I'm going to perfect that sort of attitude. And they walk out and they go, right, I have faster reflexes than everyone on the server, so I'm just going to shoot them to death. And there's really nothing you can do about that.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And that's probably also going to happen to EU eventually, right? Like, it's not like NA talent is just better than EU talent.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
So,
I wouldn't say that.
I'd expect the same thing to happen in EU too.
Oh yeah.
Once once things settle down, and once people start retiring, because they are going to retire eventually. People are getting old, in fact.
Oh no. But just let them retire at an age that's older than me, not younger than me. That way I can feel like I was at least able to do something with
No,
my
I'm
time
sorry.
with
Farrell
esports.
retired at like 20. You're done. You're correct.
Set the bar too high.
God.
Yeah, Farrell's
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm going to go get my degree, so I'm going to quit Siege. And I'm sitting there like, oh, my joints.
Be happy you've never played competitively. Be happy I'll never play. Like, the only thing I'll ever do is fucking play Go Force so I can cast better. That's the only reason I'll ever play comp.
Nah, you can't play Go Force anymore because those don't exist.
Whatever the hell the replacement is for North America, I'm going to play it. Like, Gregor and I are already like, yeah, you and me are going to grab some people, we're going to play whatever the replacement is just because we want more comp experience and we're not that good at it yet.
I'm moving to Australia so I can continue to play Go Force because that's my career
Hell
trajectory
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I've got enough Australian friends we could probably bunk together if you want. We'll jump into the Sinister House, or I'll get Raven and Guz or something. I'll just sleep
I
on their couch.
absolutely refuse to live in that country.
Hellhole of a country.
Well, it's a wonderful country. It's just, they sit there and go, "Oi, mate, it's 117 degrees. What are you doing?" And they're just like
That's
wearing
normal.
they're wearing a hoodie in 117 degrees, going like, I saw a koala. I'm not about that. Absolutely not.
Let's just keep
too
perpetuating
much.
the fucking stereotype. Jesus.
I eat Vegemite. I can say what I want. I'm more Australian than
Oh,
anyone.
yeah, so that gives you a pass. Right, it gives you a pass. Bullshit.
It does.
I can't stand Vegemite. It doesn't matter.
And then we
All right,
have...
that's
yeah.
the DG changing. There's Oxygen, though. I did want to touch on Oxygen.
Yeah. I mean, Oxygen has just... I mean, what can you say besides goddamn?
There's not much you can... No, they dropped that one map to DG, and that's it. They 2-0'd SSG.
Yeah,
I did not think that was going to happen. I fully expected that to be a 2-1 in one team's favor. And it didn't help that Oregon went to overtime match point. This was earlier. This was July 1st. In the winners game between SSG and OXG, but...
Yeah, and I mean...
watching that game was actually kind of sad. Like, I've only watched the Oregon SSG Oxygen game. And,
You just watched map 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was actually more on SSG. I felt like more like, not that Oxygen played like bad or anything, but I do actually feel like it was more on SSG, not really showing anything crazy on Oregon. Like SSG would be the team that I expect to show something interesting on Oregon.
Yeah.
Didn't really happen. Like, their attacks were pretty lackluster. I also disliked their meeting kitchen defense quite a lot, and it was just Oxygen capitalizing on that.
Well, I mean,
I think their team composition has been the thing that I've been like very, very stuck on. I think for the past couple weeks, like when they added Bio and it was Bio and Slash was the time when I went, this lineup is stacked, and I don't think enough people realize how stacked this lineup is.
Well, I mean, Bio didn't leave because he was bad. Bio left because of personal issues, and when he came back, he absolutely had a chip on his shoulder, and he had a shit ton to prove, and I think he's gone on to prove it.
Yes, sir.
But if we look at, going on Reaper's point, if we look at the bans specifically on Oregon, Oxygen banned Mute. Right? They didn't ban Mira. They didn't ban Maestro. They banned Mute. And if any team is a addicted to Mute, it's Space Station. You know, they're the ones who created and then perfected Mute, Mozzie, Vigil. That combination of operators that basically controlled part of the meta for, I don't know, months. Right? That was sort of the invitationals, is you look and you see there's a Mute, there's a Mozzie, there's a Vigil.
Yep.
And you can look at that and go...
Pretty much right until Wame was released, right? And like people started playing like Jaeger, Wame, Smoke Shields.
Then Jaeger, Wame, Smoke Shields, right?
But before that, people always played Mute, Mozzie, and Vigil, I guess. And certainly SSG was one of the teams that kind of perfected that, and they were also really good about playing around those operators, right? Like, because what you want to do with like Mute and Mozzie, so you just want to start early in the map, right? And then you just want to gradually fall back without actually fighting. And I feel like that's one of the aspects of the game where SSG is like really like one of the best teams in the game. And they can really perfect this kind of style where they just don't lose random people on their roam game. And they always manage to fall back. And, you know, large part of playing this playstyle is Mute and Mozzie.
Yeah. I'm just looking at this and I'm wondering what the... I didn't think OXG was going to be the team that came first out of Group A. I definitely expected that to be SSG, but I think everyone just kind of expected that just because world champions are coming out of an invitational victory. You were first place in North America last season, so the expectation for them is already kind of high. For OXG to come out first is just kind of sending it's a good statement to send heading into Phase 2, because now Group A is now comprised of quite literally the 4 best teams in North America, and it's not even close, and it's stacked, and it's awesome, and oh my god, I don't want 2 of these teams to get eliminated from this group. I just like, oh, it looks so good. It's OXG, Space Station, TSM, and Dark Zero. I don't think any of us saw, in moving into Phase 2, that this wasn't going to be the group, unless one of either the Sonics or Tempo Storm were able to like pull off some like miracle upset of some kind, because I think we all kind of saw DG and E United didn't really have a chance in Group A. But now Phase 2's Group A is so good looking. It's not even funny. It's
yeah, I mean,
these guys are going to tear each other apart, man. It's going to be so fun to watch.
Especially if you consider how teams got there, right? I feel like in NA, at least 50% of the matches had overtime, right?
Yeah.
That's certainly how it felt. Felt like the league in general is like incredibly competitive at the moment. And like all the like top games where like TSM Dark Zero was a banger, Oxygen's Space Station was a really good match. So I'm expecting those like matches in between them also to be like really, really good. Like in general, NA has been like so enjoyable at the moment in this season for me personally.
Is that just because it's best of 3s and not best of 1s? Is that the only reason?
I think
big enough reason for me, honestly.
It is. I feel like, it adds a lot, right? Just the, overtime is like exciting, right? That's just how it is. Because there have been quite a few draws in EU too, right? So if you imagine like these draw games were actually overtime games, right? Could have had some more interesting games in EU. But for me personally, it's actually playstyle, actually. I feel like... I really like the playstyle of current NA teams right now. I feel like there is actually a difference between regions at the moment. I feel like teams like Dark Zero, Space Station, Disrupt, kinda, Sonics too, are playing like a much more structured style than their EU counterparts, and I personally enjoy that a lot.
How much of that do you kind of think still ties into Europe having to play best of 1 super weeks with 2 different opponents across different weeks? Do you think that still kind of plays a factor in that? Like, if EU can't be nearly as structured, it's because they have to keep on like switching their attention more frequently than a North American team would have to in the course of a given week?
No, I don't think so. I think you can play a structured style even if you only focus on yourself. I don't think a structured style requires you to really care about what your opponents are doing. I feel like this is just like, I guess it's somewhat random, but it's just that the cores of those lineups, right, like Dark Zero, Space Station, are these kind of players who are like really like strategically minded, I guess, and they kind of carry their team along in playing that playstyle, and I enjoy that quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, for me at least, it's been weird seeing the paradigm shift almost of since sort of I guess since the Raleigh Major, you could see this, where EU started getting more and more frag heavy, and NA started getting more and more focused on strats, right? And I think that sort of has a lot to do with, I mean, I guess weirdly enough, it has a lot to do with Empire and Dark Zero joining. Because so when, this is my crazy conspiracy theory, but hear me out, okay?
All right, here we go.
The only way you used to be able to beat Empire was to outshoot them, right? Because they would just gun you down. You couldn't strat around that. Can't strat around getting kicked in the teeth. So you had to outshoot them. And so the meta in Europe started pushing towards outshooting them. And then Dark Zero in NA started getting strats that were unoutshootable. And so everyone in NA started having to strat around, right, well, if we're going to get strat heavy, let's get strat heavy. And they sort of started doing that. And then SSG started becoming the new Dark Zero with their, you know, crazy strats and that sort of thing. And you start seeing this shift happen where NA starts focusing more on strats because they hadn't before, and EU starts focusing more on frags when they hadn't before. And now everything's sort of topsy-turvy.
I'll agree on the paradigm shift part, mostly because everyone did kind of set the standard for what, especially North American play, was supposed to be like, or what the pinnacle of North American play was on DZ's shoulders, especially like for their Season 9, Season 10 Raleigh Major. Like the year that Dark Zero had in 2019, their 2019 year is something that everyone can take a look at as probably one of the best North American teams, period. I think, with the I would call them the best North American team in all of all of 2019 had they done better at Raleigh. If they had made it out of Raleigh groups and made the stage, I'd probably give them a lot more credit. But then we still had TSM do something, we had SSG do something. Back then they were still trying to figure out like where they kind of fit within the grand scheme of North American Siege. But DZ had a really, really impressive run, and everyone's like, oh, well, they're now the kings of strat. And then you're right, SSG had this resurgence, came back, won SI 2020 off of the backs of, you know, figuring out their team composition, adding Canadian to the roster, and then all of a sudden basically turning North America kind of on its head because they're like, oh, we thought Dark Zero was the only one that was able to execute this effectively. Nope, here's the astronauts, they'll do it too.
No, definitely, but the thing is, for me, now we have had 2 years in a row, or like 2 invitationals in a row, where like this, or like a year in a row, where the strat heavy teams have been dominating, right? Empire from the thing is, you can make a good argument that Empire was like the better team at Invitational 2019 too, right? Things up in the air. They certainly were the better team in Pro League at that stage at that certain time. And then they won Italy Pro League finals. They won Raleigh. And then they kind of fell off. But then, you know, SSG as a fellow strategic team, you know, took up the torch and won the Invitational. Right? So there's been like at least a year now where, you know, strategical Siege has been like the pinnacle of Siege. So I'm actually somewhat surprised that EU teams have not started playing more structured. Because like NA certainly has.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of wish we could find like a common cause about why they're not playing that way, though. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't be the one to explain why Europe's not able to catch up in that regard, because I'm not the person to do that. But
I wonder if there is any person that can do that. To be honest,
yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, it's such a weird shift to see, because in any esport, right? I mean, you think about literally every other esport, and it's NA is there to get kills and EU is there to do strats.
We still kind of flip it on its head. I almost feel like Europe's still kind of in that post-Empire meta. We need to find like picks, especially
that's
picks.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? Every other esport, you think about something like CS. A lot of NA CS teams are just like, right, we just have a bunch of gunners. We don't really think, we just go. NA Dota is a lot of we win our team fights, and all this kind of stuff. And then the EU is always thought of more as the strategic region and that kind of stuff. It's like in StarCraft, where, NA plays, but...
I won't get this reference.
I'm out too.
Oh,
my ass doesn't watch StarCraft. No, sir.
Oh. Right? It's like NA plays, but Korea wins.
Don't worry, there are 2 people in chat who can probably play StarCraft and who can probably get it.
My God. Oh, don't worry.
You being one of them, it's all right.
No, I can't play StarCraft for shit. Are you kidding me?
Fucking hell.
My APM is terrible.
I don't know what that means, Chowder.
Actions
Stop using terms from a game that died 10 years ago.
That's why every StarCraft player sounds like this.
Mic too good? Or keyboard too bad?
Oh, no. Hold on.
RTX voice turn on. What did you just do?
No. Give me a second.
End the stream.
Wait. No. Nope. Stream's still going. Oh. Hold on.
What in the goddamn... 10 out of 10 production.
Everybody calm down, okay? Everybody chill.
We'll be here for a second while it fixes his shit.
Hey, what's up? How we doing? Definitely didn't just break the stream. How we doing?
All right. Let's make a quick transition, then we can find a way to close up, because we have a thing that we have to do at the end of the episode, which I had forgotten about until just now. And Chad will have to pull up the email that way we can see if there's actually anything in there.
Oh, we didn't get any.
We didn't get any? Perfect. We're great. All right. Talk a little bit about the 2 groups that are moving into Phase 2 North America, which, as far as I'm aware, starts on Wednesday. I don't have any reason to believe that it doesn't, but Wikipedia doesn't have the times locked in, so I don't even think they've been formally announced or who's playing who. Mm-hmm. But Phase 2 is OXG, Dark Zero, Space Station, TSM, 4 best teams from the first phase, and then Group B, EU, Tempo Storm, DG, and the Sonics. From what I can tell, it's the top 3 teams in Group A auto-qualify for the major, then the bottom team from Group A, the 2 best teams from Group B, are the ones that then play alongside the best Canadian team, or from Canadian PL. The 4 of them play in a qualifier for that last North American major spot, because there are 4 major spots guaranteed for North America. Those bottom 2 are then the ones that play one another not one another. Those are the 2 teams that play relegation games against the top 2 teams from CL once the whole North American CL scene is done. I like this format a lot. My question is, which of the 2 teams in Group B, or which of the 4 teams in Group B are the ones that are getting relegated this season? EU, Tempo Storm, Disrupt, Sonics. My money for the ones that have to play relegation games, and just because of their performance so far through the first phase, is EU and Tempo. Does anyone think that it's going to be anyone aside from EU and Tempo playing those games come November or December when that event happens?
I think EU is pretty safe. I don't think it's too controversial. Although Tempo?
Yeah, I think it's between Tempo and Sonics.
Tempo and Sonics for you. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like no one, we're not going to say Disrupt, right?
No.
I don't think Disrupt
has played too well to predict them to get into relegation now.
I don't think
they can, unless NJR
well.
breaks both of his hands, I don't think they can be relegated, right?
And assuming that, because I feel like Sonics was playing pretty well, considering the circumstances of not having their main lineup.
Yeah.
And depending on when these games are, or how long the season is going to take, if they get both Golf and Slabin on the team, I'd be tempted to say that Tempo Storm and United are the 2 7 and 8 teams.
I hate to say that the Sonic success is determinant on when U.S. Customs and Immigration is able to get their shit together.
Yeah.
Which, we've seen memes about that all over the subreddit, by the way. Don't stop making U.S. immigration memes. That shit is hilarious.
That's great.
I hate attributing all of their success to when they can get Slabin on the team. And this is kind of J9O's moment to really prove that he is the best thing that could have happened to the Sonics in the face of not being able to play with their starting 5. How he does will probably determine whether he has a Reed situation when Reed was a stand-in for United and then got signed to Disrupt, and now Disrupt has him as a member of their starting 5. So being a substitute within a pro league space is a really good opportunity to just continue to prove your worth, and I think he can definitely do that. But for me, unless the Sonics are able to completely orient their strats like around J9O being there and Sleben not being there. If they want to, put the time and the resources into trying to get him up to speed. He's already done a really good job of doing that. But in my book, I want Tempo and the Sonics to like fight each other for like that last spot and like that very last decider game, just to see which one of them makes it, because I think you're right. In my book, EU probably still has to play that relegation game like outright. There's just I don't see a way around them staying alive in Group B.
Yeah, I mean,
there's our 5 seconds of silence. We did it every episode, guys.
Oh
boy.
I mean, North America is very strong at the top, right? But it's also the North America thing of North America is very strong at the top, and they're not super competitive at the bottom.
Well, that was something we had to take into account, not because how should I put this? There's a better way to put this. The top 4 and the bottom 4 are now locked into playing just each other. Whereas before,
and that's gonna be competitive, right?
That will make it way more competitive than, there's a bottom 4 and then there's a top 4. They will probably play each other based on the way that the schedule works, but now they can only play the people that weren't able to perform nearly as effectively in the previous phase of this stage. So now, it's like they're stuck playing together, and there's no way around the competition that they will have to endure within those phases. But that's just me.
This season of NA Pro League has been a lot more competitive than before. I feel like this divide between the top and the bottom 4 teams has been a lot more obvious for previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nowadays, if you just look at the results of the matches, right? Not even at the matches themselves, you can tell that it's becoming increasingly more competitive, I think.
Yeah, there was a post about it on the subreddit from like last night saying currently North America is like bar none the more competitive region that we were seeing play from, and I'm like, yeah, I can't. APAC North certainly isn't showing them up, so and they have a Swiss stage. Imagine if North America had a Swiss format. God, that would be weird.
I hate Swiss.
You hate Swiss?
I hate Swiss.
You sure you don't want to roll that statement back?
I think genuinely, like, it's just there's nothing wrong with Swiss necessarily. I just think that Swiss is really good in tournaments.
I like Swiss in tournaments a lot.
Swiss is amazing in tournaments. Swiss is not super good in league play.
Allied Esports Minor, still probably the best ever, round 1 that we've ever had. Really, really, really good.
Swiss is a great format. I just don't think it's great for like league play necessarily, because as the league goes on, you're going to have teams that just don't play as much, and those teams are going to suffer because of that, sort of.
The ones that go 3-0 or 0-3 kind of thing, the ones that are qualify for the next part or are eliminated really quick.
Yeah, because there's going to be some teams that just like are over-prepared, and there's going to be some teams that are under-prepared, and you can tell what teams those are because sort of one team got eliminated in Swiss, and now they have to prepare for X, Y, and Z opponent, and another team didn't get eliminated in Swiss, and now they have to sit there and constantly grind out.
It's a fair point. Someone always has to qualify in 3 games, and someone always has to lose in 3 games. Well, I mean, under like traditional Swiss, but yeah.
Does Swiss even work here? Like, isn't it, like, in terms of the math behind it, don't they eventually have to play like a random state, like a random round again?
They reset the bracket. They reset the bracket after a while.
Oh.
So, right now, after this play day, they will have already played, I think it's 5 games, or they might have to go through and do 1 more, and it's 6 games, and then after that, they go back, and based on their results, they will then split it again, and the matchups aren't randomized. I think the matchups are based on how they placed in the first. But they play 2 Swisses in the first stage, is the point.
Yeah, okay. You do. It's groups of Swiss. It's weird.
It is weird, not gonna lie. And it's also weird how every region is playing like a different system, right? Kind of seems like
I'll keep saying it's a proof of concept to see which one of them work and which one don't, and then they can just like stick to the stuff that they think works the best, right?
I mean, literally every region is different, right?
I don't like you getting the short end of the stick with not having LAN. I think that's actually pretty huge.
How's that feel,
getting the LAN experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel pretty bad, not gonna lie.
What do we have? Land best of 3s, round robin best of 1s, double 10-team Swiss, best of 2s, which are still a goddamn thing in Latin America, which I do not get. And then whatever the regional tournament format is for what Apex South is, but those ones I like the Oceanic
Apex
Masters.
South. Apex South is best of 3 LAN.
Right, but that's after they get 3 teams from the Oceanic Nationals and the 1 from South Asia.
No, I mean their normal format will be best of 3 LAN.
For both of those national programs?
Apex South is switching to a LAN league, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong.
But it's just a matter of like getting the teams to qualify for it. Remember, fucking APAC Pro League
getting the
had to have those. Yeah, the sub-region division still exists in APAC, even though we're like, oh well, we don't have 4 sub-regions anymore. Well, no, we have 2 divisions, but one of those divisions still has 2 sub-regions in it.
Yeah, I don't. Weird shit is going on in APAC.
Yeah,
like I feel like I need a degree to understand APAC.
There's so many people there. Hold on. I remember looking at something for like, because I keep checking back in on the APAC South like Wikipedia page for the South Asian Nationals to see like the teams that qualify. There's a full like Indian team called Monka S. Like, god damn it.
Love it.
And Union Gaming that has a unicorn. But like this is why I really like this. South Asian Nationals hasn't even played it. They haven't played a game yet because there's still 2 more qualifiers. Or no, there's 1 more qualifier to go and 2 teams qualify. They have 6 teams in there right now. The really cool thing about just looking at this is just being able to mouse over all of the teams that are in there and seeing countries' flags that we just don't see in Siege. Like, ever. Like, the only time I've ever seen an Indian flag on a Wikipedia page for a Siege event was for, like, the ESL had, what is it, like an India Open or... Indian Nationals, Indian Masters, something like that. And I just remember watching Indian Siege thinking it's not top tier competition, because obviously, but it's still representation from a different part of the world that we just don't give enough attention. So looking at the South Asian Nationals and seeing India and Bangladesh probably being the 2 most prominent ones, I'm just looking at that going, dude, that is so cool. There's 2 players from Pakistan in here. Since when did Pakistan ever see this kind of notoriety? And it's just as small as seeing a name. It doesn't even have to go past that.
So I've had a lot of people come up to me for some reason. I don't know why they do it, but
something about
like
being
genuinely, this
blah, blah,
is the wrong person to ask. They're like, hey, will India ever have a pro league? And I'm like, I don't fucking know.
They're asking
why would I know this?
Yeah.
Right? But there's the other thing of it used to be there were a lot of people in South Africa who wanted to play Siege. And there used to not be South African servers. There used to be European servers. So they would have to scrim with 140 ping.
Yeah.
Right? But now that they have those servers down there, now that there are servers in India and there's starting to increase the amount of servers, we're seeing a lot of these sort of regions start to grow and develop. And I think it'll be interesting to see that and where those regions go.
Yeah, I mean, if you like went back in time, like what, 3 years now, you could just say the same thing about LATAM too, right? Like at some point in time, LATAM was one of those regions that was really undeveloped, and now they're basically on par with all the other regions, with EU, NNA, and same for APAC, right? Like more recently.
Especially more recently. I think half the reason I want to get more invested in APAC is because I want to continue to see like players from other countries or teams fully from other countries like find a method of excelling. So to see that APAC North has got, all this representation, and we're seeing what is primarily Japan, Korea for the most part. We've still got Taiwan in there, and there's what 2 Taiwanese teams or 3? I need to remember exactly how many are in APAC North. But it's like, you don't see that ever. It's like 1 full Singaporean team made it to Tokoname, Airwolf did. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well,
like,
so
they've never had this kind of thing before, and that's really cool for them, but that's really cool for us to be like, hey, you can still play Siege in other parts of the world, even if it's not immediately noticeable. We can't always have a Japanese and an Australian team qualify for Pro League finals from APAC every time.
So Airwolf is a bit different. because Airwolf is now Giants Gaming, right?
Right.
But back then, I remember every time I would talk to the Fnatic guys, you know, it would be like, what's the scariest thing that you have to deal with during the season? And they're like, well, there's every time, you know, we blow through ANZ, and then we have to sit there and work our asses off to beat Airwolf. And it wasn't really known outside of the region just how fucking ridiculous Airwolf were. But I'm glad that they actually got on to sort of this major stage and were able to show everyone how good they were. Same with Wildcard, right?
Yeah. Like for the longest time, Airwolf has been like the gatekeepers of international competition, right? Like if you wanted to play internationally, you
gotta go through Airwolf. That's
coincidentally,
that's the breaks.
Airwolf always lost, right? up until Tokonoma.
Yeah, but now they're 5-0.
They always need to go through them.
Yeah. And now they're, I think, the only undefeated team.
They're the only team that went undefeated through the first Swiss of APAC North. Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking mental.
No, they're
also a nice Montagna place.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell APAC does with shields, but they're nuts.
They just fucking do it. They don't give a shit.
Like, by far, the funniest thing on earth is, oh God, who was it? Was it Ysera? Blocking the drone hole with the clash on the back.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh my God.
Who was that? It was
Ysera, I think. Actually, it might have been Lunar.
Lunar might have been Ysera, yeah. I'm sure one of those guys. I'm sure one of those guys will yell at me about getting the name wrong, but yeah, no, it's sort of always been, you know, there's the old joke, or not a joke, I guess. You could talk to players about this. It's the crucible of where most teams take their like insane pocket strats from is just what normally happens in APAC. Right? Because APAC is 5 or 6 different regions all smashing together, and you have to sit there and go, right, we have no idea what the fuck we're going to do, so our opponents don't, let's do it. Right? How do you stop a Zofia trick? Well, it's really easy. You take your clash shield and you just get the wall open now, fuckers. Right?
What do you mean there's a more conventional way to do this? What do you mean Jaeger has ADSs? Fuck that shit.
Nah, just bring a clash. Just stick him in the drone.
Like that's honestly got to be like one of the most like creative things I've like seen in the past year or so.
It kind of looks dumb, but at the same time, you're like, who thinks of this? This is genius, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Also, like there's also levels to it, right? Like just the idea of putting in a clash like normally onto the drone hole would be revolutionary, right? But then they even come up with the idea of putting the shield on her back and like sitting like faced away.
Just crouching.
Like that's when you can truly not counter anymore. Like Kelly doesn't do anything anymore. Sophia doesn't do anything anymore. Claymores don't do anything. You can fireball it, but like
that's a waste of a fireball. Yeah. Also, she's fast. She's still clash, so she can just, and she has her shield on her back, so she can just walk away. Right?
Nowhere more was the idea of APAC doesn't know what they're doing, so it's really, really hard to counter them. No more was that exemplified than the 6th Invitational qualifiers for APAC, and we're just watching Xavier go around running goddamn Finka. Like, I don't even think...
Oh, APAC loves Finka.
No, I mean,
he's
running Finka LMG and just bursting into the site, like, every single time.
Did you not see what Fnatic did? Fnatic won against G2 on Villa because Tex just went, okay, guys, go kill him. Right? That's what you do, right? Think about the best play that Fnatic had on the main stage against BDS was just everyone mentally resetting and said, guys, we're going to do it. What do you mean we're going to do it? We're going to do it. And then 5 hot breaches happen at the same time.
Oh, on Consulate, yeah. It's fucking great. Which made me sad because I really wanted to see Fnatic go further.
And they smoked BDS in that round. It was just, BDS had absolutely no idea that this was happening because they had successfully taken out all of the cameras. BDS was like, Okay, where are they? Are they on Yellow Stairs Skylight? Should we challenge that? And then just 3 people enter admin, and you're just like, ah!
It's like, if you can, like, Parker kind of said it, like, within an invitational cast against G2, he's like, I don't want to call them silly, but they do still pull silly things. And in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, it's because when APAC has fun with something, they will keep on doing it until it stops punching you in the face.
I mean, what's the adage? If it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid.
I guess.
Have I heard that one before? I don't know if I've heard that one.
Right? I mean, you see someone in ranked take a clash and sit on a drone hole, and you're going to be like, that guy's a fucking moron. Right? You see a Sarah do it, and you're like, oh, wait, hold on. What? Wait, this works?
As soon as if someone does it in a pro league match, then people just start taking it seriously. Yeah. Like when people start pulling up coconut bra strats in the middle of like just fucking coconut bra, it does something really, really dumb, but then someone does it in a PL game, they're like, oh, so I guess this is legitimate then. Because someone did it in a pro game, that means we can do it and not feel dumb about doing it ourselves.
No, I mean, and I'll say this till the end of time. And disclosure, I am part of this esports team as a streamer. But if you want to see people invent and do coconut bra shit in Pro League, Nico on Sinister.
We'll keep singing his praises, but yeah, you're right.
I will keep saying this man until he retires. This is the player who defines APAC, which is, okay, well, what does Nico do? In the middle of a Pro League qualifier game, he gets on the balcony on Banana on Bank and tries to spawn peek someone spawning at jewelry.
Does it work though? Like 50% of the time, 75%.
No, because nobody spawned on jewelry, so
I'm gonna say no one goes there.
Right, but you think about it. He got up on the railing on Banana. He's got a dock angle, and he's looking out the big window towards jewelry, towards that manhole cover.
Yeah.
How the fuck how do you even think about that? Right? He's the only man I've ever seen, and this wasn't in a Pro League game, this was in a ranked game. He shot a man. So he's on top of coastline, right? He's on top of the roof.
Yeah.
And he's looking down at the angle through Aqua Bar, through the drone vent. He shot a man through that.
Wait. What?
What?
Did you show me this angle already and I'm already forgetting it, or?
Yep.
Oh, I have certainly never seen that.
we got to pull this one up again, just for. Holy shit!
Hold on.
We can find this
said,
nut
though,
about Nico again.
Even though there are like always very interesting stuff there's always interesting stuff happening in APAC, right? There's also some pretty stupid stuff happening, right? Like it's not
that's not even a question.
Right? It's not like there's only diamonds. There's also a lot of
like
dirt.
90%
the cool
of the
stuff that works in
strats.
APAC is just the stupid stuff that works. Everything else is just stupid.
Yeah. I mean, APAC is where the sort of the crucible where strats are made. And if you think about it like that, sometimes you're going to make a bad strat. Like there's some dumb shit that happens in APAC that you just kind of have to sit there and go, what?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh shit, I just realized that a package I was expecting is not gonna get delivered because I wasn't at my door when he fucking showed up at my house mid-podcast. Fuck.
No!
No! I gotta find a way to get that back. Oh well.
Alright.
We covered almost everything, and I didn't think we were gonna talk about APAC ever. So you're welcome, everyone who thought
You're
that
welcome,
we were
all
biased
3
against...
APAC users. Thank you.
One of them is Itby Style, who's unemployed, and the other one is Sentis, who's the coach for Itby Style's unemployed team. Just how it goes. All right, we can probably wrap this up here. Reaper,
all right.
Couple seconds. Anything that you'd like to go through and plug? Anything you want to promote? The floor is yours for anything, if you've got something that you want to shout out.
Actually, no. I don't mind.
Nothing?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's not my style. I stick to my style.
Okay. And we do have one correction. So if we've said anything, we do. So if we've said anything wrong in this podcast, feel free to email us at hammeredcorrections@gmail.com, hammeredcorrections@gmail.com, and we'll, correct ourselves on air at the end of every podcast. So at 1 hour and 25 minutes in the last podcast, I said the red car on the street in German would be one full word, when unfortunately it is not. It is 6 words. Das
It is, in
Wort
fact,
Otto
not.
auf der Straße.
Can confirm.
We have someone who can confirm it. It's perfect.
And also BDS didn't take it.
Fuck!
Thank you for listening to the Hammered Podcast. This has been episode 16 with Reaper.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming on, Reaper. I hope you had a good time.
I had.
All right. We'll see you all later.
We don't want to waste your time, so there won't be an outro.